So today was the big day down in Johannesburg. 90 world leaders came to eulogize a 95-year-old Nelson Mandela at his death. The ceremonies continue for another week, we understand, there in South Africa. But one of the things I noticed in my analysis of the various presentations from CNN to MSNBC to ABC, CBS, Wall Street, New York Times, and many of the blog sites as I peruse all of them to see what their perspective is on reporting this event from South Africa. Number one is that they all want to say with all the passion of one could have, is to say that these are two sons of Africa, Mandela being one and Obama being the other. They want to say that these two Africans have indeed changed the world in unprecedented ways, that they are extraordinary in their presence. They hint at it, but they are afraid to say it. Knowing that Nelson Mandela is indeed a son of Africa, there's no doubt about that. What they're afraid to say and to affirm is that Barack Hussein Obama is a son of Africa. Inasmuch as that he is not supposed to be, he's supposed to be American born, which is a distinction. Certainly if Jesse Jackson was at the helm of the American presidency, the closeness to Africa would not be considered. But you and I know that they are two sons of Africa. And so they just ought to go ahead and scream it, that these two are sons of Africa. But what they don't want to open the door to is that these are two communist Marxist sons of Africa. As you will remember, that both of them are students, or at least their influence, of the Patrice Lumumba Communist Marxist school that happened there starting in the latter half of the last century. Patrice Lumumba and the nations in Africa going communist Marxist. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Media America and Liberal America and Black America, feel free to say that Mandela and Obama are two extraordinary sons of Africa. Feel free to say it. Don't be ashamed. At least don't let me, James David Manning and Bertha Princess Mickey Booth and Rudy and Aaron Davis and Jerome Corsi, don't let us stop you from declaring and decrying that these two are sons of Africa. Go ahead and scream it from the rooftops. But the other thing I think that's latent and hidden in this whole process, of course, is, as I just stated, they're both communist Marxist sons of Africa. They're both sons of the communist Marxist ideal. And so they're both also evil as you can possibly get, one being the son of Satan, and certainly the other being as close to a high-ranking angel in Satan's regime as you can possibly get. You know, there are a lot of people are running around now talking about how shrewd, or at least how accommodating and how kind that Mandela was. That somehow or another he was this most forgiving person. Maya Angelou, Cheryl Hunt Galt, and all the others are running around talking, Wolf Blitzer, how kind he was and how forgiving he was, considering 27 years in prison. But it wasn't that at all. The man was just very calculating like any other demon and devil. And he certainly realized that when dealing with Western world and liberal, if you will, dealing with the underclass of black people, the Western liberal world always bends over backwards to appease the African or African leadership or black people in their suffering cause. He understood that clearly, and he played it like a Stradivarius. So he wasn't forgiving at all. The man Mandela, of course, being a Marxist, being a communist, and let me just say something to all of you that are praising this man as some sort of a saint. He's a politician. And whether it's Jimmy Carter or whether it's Nelson Mandela, politicians are politicians. Politicians do what they have to do in order to maintain their position and power as a politician. They're not saints, and about no stretch of the imagination. But having said that, these two sons of Africa, these two sons of Marxist communist ideas that Obama and both Mandela are, Obama now walks over in the midst of all of this 90 heads of state gathering for the eulogy of Nelson Mandela, walks over and kisses the ring of Raul Castro, the brother of Fidel. Yes, he did. And now this is going to be the talk of the town for the next 2 years, that Obama has kissed the ring of Raul Castro. And we'll see exactly what all this means. But I can tell you now that this was a socialist, communist, if you will, get together like you won't believe. Obama's a socialist. You know, when we talk about socialism, let me just say something to you that probably will shock you. Christianity is pretty much a socialist, if you will, economic, if you must, ideology. No, it is. It doesn't have with it the same sense of a political Marxist, communist, socialist ideology, but it is socialist. Christianity is. Let me get that out of the way. It's not unheard of, and I'm sure those who've been around for a while understand the tenets of Christianity. You'll remember in the book of Acts where after the first church got started, they had all things in common, and they worshiped from house to house. The book of Acts says in the book of Acts chapter 2. So Christianity is a bit socialist, but not communist Marxist socialist. Let's be clear about that. But what we saw and what would be the headlines coming out of the death of this Marxist, Nelson Mandela, is that a socialist and communist fest happened there in the reign of the eulogy of Nelson Mandela at the stadium, with Barack Hussein Obama being the chief socialist, communist, Marxist at the helm of all the events there. Find it very, very interesting.
All true, all the time, the Manning report is sure to blow your mind. Just let me hear you sing. He's gonna make your day. Just listen to the